Alright, so we've tried a bunch of different things on this Jeep to try and see if we can get, you know, some fuel economy back, because I know the engine's in great shape. There's absolutely, you know, no way it's a head gasket or something like that. It's just, it's got to be something up with the drivetrain or the fuel system or something like that. One of those things has to be causing that issue. The engine's fine. Oh, look at that. So anyway, the next thing I'm gonna try, because I've dumped just about everything in this fuel tank I possibly can, and the only thing that made a difference was, strangely, a 20-something-year-old, I think, STP fuel system treatment, and then that was only for one, like, tank, and boat gas. Boat gas, Jeep likes boat gas, but I ain't putting boat gas in it because that costs more than diesel now. But anywho, the next thing I'm gonna try is the drivetrain, because I've replaced the CV joints on the front drive shaft twice now, and they're bad again. I don't know if you can hear it. Let me roll the window down for you. But probably can't hear that. But you can hear, it sounds like a bunch of ball bearings in a bag of rocks, because that's what it is. So the front drive shaft CV joints have gone out again. It's probably because they drove through a bunch of salt water and then didn't wash the car out, and all the salt water got into the ball bearings, and you just did nasty things in it. Ooh, is that a chicken? It is. It's a street chicken. So anywho, front drive shaft's bad again, so I gotta get in there and do that. Additionally, it kind of dawned on me that I started having all this like horrid drivetrain whine in here right about the same time that I replaced the rear U-joint. And the U-joint that was in there before was just horrible. It was god-awful. I mean, it was like, and I ran on that for quite a few miles before I finally did something about it. But then I swapped it out, put in a nice new U-joint, was gonna do both, couldn't get the front one out for the life of me, and just left the old one in there. And when I replaced that front one, it was still fine. Anywho, there's a bunch of construction, so I drove a lot farther. But I've replaced the CV joints, the rear CV joint on the front drive shaft. This will be the third time, so this will be the fourth CV joint I've had on that drive shaft. I've done the front once, maybe twice, no, just once. But I'm gonna do that front one again, because the last time I had to do the rear, I put new grease in it, and that grease in the front one looked horrible. So we're gonna get some nice good grease in it, and yeah, we're just gonna replace those. They have a horrible design. The rear one has a nice little funnel with a neoprene boot or a silicone boot, and this is an off-road vehicle, and that one's down because it's on the transfer case. So you hit a stick, and the stick pops up and goes through the boot, and then it just fills with water and sand and eats itself alive. So terrible design. Shouldn't do that. But I digress. Gonna have to do them. So since I'm gonna already have the car up on blocks, I'm gonna pull that front drive shaft and then drive the car around and see if all of this horrid whining goes away. Which I don't know how well you can hear it, but it's like all up under here. It's been doing that for like 90,000 miles. Well, actually, no, it's only been doing that for 40,000 miles. It just had like a weird noise in the back for the other 50,000 miles. But the other thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna replace both U-joints on the main drive shaft. I've done both of them already. I did them about 90,000 miles ago, I think. One 90,000 miles ago, and I think the other one like 70,000 miles ago. But I did the rear one at home by myself, and it was a real pain to get out, a real pain to get in. And it has always been stiff, like it's like that. Like it's not hard, it's not grindy, it's not like stuttery, but it's like, it doesn't rotate under its own weight. You can move it and then hold the drive shaft out straight, and it just like stays there. There's not a lot of weight on that yoke, but it still should just like, flop. It's a drive shaft. And the front one, it's super floppy. It's flippy, limp-wristed all over the place. And I think what happened is I bought two front U-joints, because I just went on there and just went, it's a drive shaft, it's gonna have the same U-joint on it, and so I just ordered two front. I just picked a U-joint and ordered two. I was on Rock Auto and I looked, and there's a front and a rear U-joint from every brand. So I'm pretty certain I put a front U-joint in the rear of my drive shaft. and then I've just been running that for 90,000 miles. So yeah, that probably has something to do with the wine. But it could also have something to do with the fuel economy, which would be really, really cool if I just got really good fuel economy after that. But I've been running that for 90,000 miles, and it hasn't. Google, will you quit telling me to take the wrong road? I am staying on Char Augusta, and you can't stop me. But that would be really nice if I just suddenly got a lot better fuel economy from replacing that. I'd just be happy the wine went away. But anyway, I digress. That's another random thing we're going to do to this car to see if it makes a difference. It's not going to, but maybe it'll quit whining. That would be nice. Well, I should have listened to Google because I'm on Char Augusta Road and not Char Augusta Highway, so I am not in the right place now. But that's why I drive the Jeep, so that I can just like drive into stuff. Okay, so it's that time of year where I just like drive all around the Francis Marion for God knows what reasons, when it's all dusty and wet and full of mud and shit. It's simultaneously dry and, you know, full of mud holes and other stuff at the same time. But anyway, so I'm just going around through here just trying to see if I can break my front drive shaft first, since it's already broken. And then when we get home, we're gonna pull that sucker out and see what we can do with it. But I just wanted to show you that, you know, even with your front CV joints totally knackered, four-wheel drive still works fine. I mean, I've got her in part-time. Whoop, there's a hole. And yeah, I just wanted to comment that the Jeep suspension is god-awful. It's great because, you know, they made it really, really stiff so you don't roll the thing over, but that also means that whenever you hit a pothole, the whole car just like warps, or actually it doesn't warp. The frame doesn't flex. The frame is surprisingly rigid, but so is the suspension. And the massive sway bar also has something to do with that because they were trying to stop body roll. So it actually has a really nice like sport suspension on your off-road vehicle. Ooh, big hole. So yeah, but anyway, I'm just out here looking to see what the condition of this road is because sometimes it's absolutely horrible. And the last time I was here, I managed to scrape both the brush guard and the trailer hitch at the same time in the same mud hole, just going like this through it. So it's pretty rough, but most of the time it's just fine like this. So anyway, yeah, just having fun. All right. Woo! See what I say? I think that's it up there. So, woo! Oh, maybe it might have been that one. Yeah, real deep all of a sudden. But I think there's the motherfucker that I was looking for. Yeah. Good Lord. I don't know if I mean, I can get through it over there, but yeah. Let's try that. Let's test this sucker out. Speed your friend, kids, when going through mud, although this is pretty sandy, so. Put her in second and see if we can make her through. Oh yeah, buddy. These Jeeps are capable. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. They're just shit too. Oh, there's another one. Good Lord. Okay, yeah, road condition is fucked. Oh, goddamn. Yeah, I know when I'm beat, I ain't going through that shit. Well, we're back through that one. Ooh, boy. That's fucking worse than it was last year. I thought they would have come and damn scraped the road already. There's some taxpayer money. Thanks, Forest Service. God damn. Well, at least we got lots of mud on the car now, I think. Hopefully I didn't bend something. Anyway, we'll go check, see if we got a bent tie rod. Something just feels a little bit off. Anywho, I think it was just mud inside the tires throwing the balance off there a little bit. They don't call this road hellhole for no reason. Well, it's because there's a big swamp that sucks and is full of bugs and it's really hot. But then also the road has a bunch of, well, the road's a big hellhole too, so, you know, it fits. You know, it's destiny. Oh, there's a nice spot. Let's see if we bent some shit. Assumedly not, but we won't find out till we're on the highway. At the very least, I'll get to see if I bent my brush guard again for the third time. Oh yeah, got some goop on her. Oh, yep, definitely. Drag the trailer hitch. That's always fun. Why did I do that the day before I'm gonna crawl underneath this car and fix stuff? I don't know why I do that. Oh yeah. Yeah, we scraped it. Oh, damn, fucking shit. Well, that's exciting. Gotta get my hood open still? Last time I did that, the hood got all funny. Damn, those Chinese brush guards. They're nasty. It smell a little bit of antifreeze, so I should probably check, make sure I don't, you know, pop something. Fan was working though. We're out open just fine. That ain't blown up. Still stuff in there. Yeah, she's fine. You got mud up here. That's interesting. Huh. Oh, damn, yeah, that's a lot of mud down there. Okay, yeah, well, I'm going to tell everybody not to go down there this year. Neat. Well, I seem to have fixed whatever was wrong with the rad fan, so that's nice. Just hope that stays like that. God damn, shit. Don't buy your brush guards from China. Well, I mean, the thing is just mounted to the bumper anyway, so it's not like it matters. Hey, tie rods are fine. Just going straight. Ignore the fact that we're going to the right. Road's crowned that way, and I think that tire's down like 3 pounds. I don't know if you can hear that, but that front drive shaft is mad now. Alright, well, we're back at the house, and Hood's doing this now, which it likes to do every once in a while, so I need to get out the 3-pound bodywork hammer and do some work on that first. But let's get to work and pull that drive shaft tomorrow when it's not screaming hot 3 inches from a cat. Okay, that's fixed. I just wailed on that with a hammer. Didn't really do much of anything. I need to hook a tow chain up to that thing down there and just on it, pull it back out, rip it in half, tear it off, not care. Jam, put a bunch of self-tappers in there and screw it back together. I really need to get a much better brush guard that's not literally mounted to the, like, whatever it is, not even like fucking 14 gauge fucking bumper reinforcement in here. Need something that's like actually in the frame. But I need a bumper for that. I'm too lazy and I can't weld, so I ain't doing that. But anywho, yeah, just turned the screw thingies up because I realized I've never actually done that, even though I've fucked with this hood latch like 7 times. I never actually adjusted the bump stops. So I just wailed on the you know, rad support like you're supposed to with a 3-pound hammer. It's factory, and just beat that down about 1/4 of an inch. Just screwed those out about 1/4 of an inch, and much better. But anywho, let me show you what we're gonna have to do. And very glad that I got all this goddamn, just look at how much fucking dirt I got up in here. But yeah, it's I think it's either 6 millimeter or 5 millimeters, might be 5.5 millimeters, to get those suckers out. Those are the easy ones. And God, that cat is just boiling hot. Hey, how about I do zoop? So anyway, and then that guy back up in there is the problem child that likes to die. And it's the same sort of story, except it's really hard to get in there. And I'm sure that's all rusted together now from kind of all the salt water. And then this guy, that U-joint, it's just fine. That U-joint back there, that guy, it has been very stiff for 90,000 miles. I have a feeling I put the wrong one in there. But anywho, I digress. I think that guy has pinhole leak in it, and I think I need to do something about. Yeah, so that's generally it. I'm hoping that all the horrid noises I've been hearing from this thing for however long it was, 40,000 miles, are the result of that. Are either it's transfer case, and transfer case is fucked, because that's what the guy at the 4x4 shop told me. But then I took it to a transmission shop, and I was like, hey, listen for noise. And he was like, yeah, I don't hear anything. So I think the 4x4 guys either fucked up my drive shaft, or it's just some, and they didn't want to admit it, or it's just some other cascading effect that happened after I got my rear end done. So yeah, that usually happens. Whenever you get your rear end done, your whole life just seems to fall apart after that. But anywho, yeah, we're just gonna go in there, pull that drive shaft out, and put some new ones in. There they are, right over there. I mean, I've done it. This will be number 3 now for that rear one, and number 2 for the front one. So we're gonna do that again, and then I've got U-joints stuck somewhere over here. Did I just only order one? Huh. Must be stuck somewhere. Sure as hell hope I didn't just order one. Well, I only plan on doing the rear one, but anyway, thought I ordered 2. But yeah, we're gonna do that. And then probably also throw an air filter in there and do some power steering fluid, wherever it is, this stuff. Yeah. All right, it's the next afternoon. Let's get to work. Don't have to jack the car up, so long as you're not super fat. You can just kind of slide in there and do things, but it does help out. You do, however, need to jack up at least one wheel to be able to turn the actual front drive shaft. in order to be able to get in there and actually get all 6 bolts. So I'm going to do that. I'm just going to jack up the front cross member and just stick something on this side and get this one wheel up off the ground. If you want to be super duper safe, you do the other side. But if you want to actually be able to get under there and, you know, reach everything and have elbow room, you want to do this side. Unless you're really short, then you don't need to because you have plenty of elbow room. But anyway, I'm going to do that. And then we'll get to pulling bolts. Alrighty. So I just went in with the right angle wrench, cleaned out all the dirt out of the holes, and made sure that I can get an Allen key in all these. These are 6 millimeter, by the way. I'm going to try and use a 1/4 inch wrench. You have to have at least one wheel off the ground so that you can rotate the front drive shaft, and of course make sure that you're not in, you know, forward low with the rear on the ground, or you won't be able to spin it because there's no differential in this transfer case. But anyway, make sure one wheel is off the ground and that the other wheel is chalked or on the ground. I just took both off the ground so that I can spin everything freely if I feel like it. And yeah, it's just get them in there and see if they come out. Hopefully they come out without too much fight, but we'll see. And you will have to jam a leg under one wheel when you go to break it free. There we go. Not too bad at all. Let's hope they all do that. Shouldn't be in here with too much torque. All right, good. That's a good start. Now, front one's easy because you can just get to it. You got all this room up around here. But whoop, the rear one is not, because this is all the room you've got, and of course that's directly underneath this, so you don't even have straight access. So it's a real pain in the ass with the Allen key. I'm hoping I can get on it with this wrench, but I may have to go find a smaller extension. And this one's at the back, so all the dirt and shit gets blown up into this. So these are just plumb full of crap. So don't strip them. And yeah, this is a, you know, you have a bad drive shaft. Generally not supposed to make that noise out of, you know, the moving hardened steel components. They're usually not supposed to go. So yeah, bad drive shaft. But the boot appears to be okay. So I think it just filled with salt water. Oh yeah, look at that. That's not even tight. So it just got submerged, got in there, lunged it, and that was the end of it. Also, the grease is probably shit, and it just all burned off because, you know, right next to the cat. God, I hope I never have to get these O2 sensors out. All right. Thankfully, I was smart and I greased all the bolts, so they just came off. Once I broke the torque free, they just came off finger tight. And there's the front drive shaft. It's always a son of a bitch to get that out. What you have to do is break the rear one free and then pull the whole thing forward as far as you can and then force it up and over into this gap right in here, and just force it up in there and get it on top of the transfer case. Then you can pull that end out, and then the whole thing slides out and down and goes around the cat. It's always a pain. And well, I got this like this. I'm actually going to take her off the jack stands and drive the car around like this, because I haven't taken this out since I got the rear diff redone. And the guys at the 4x4 shop said it was transfer case that was making noise. And I can't hear anything in there that would make noise. So I'm assuming it's either the drive shaft or something weird in the rear end, but it's been so long, it hasn't changed in 40,000 miles. It just weirds me out. And anyway, also I looked back at the U-joints I bought from Rock Auto, and it says they're both front and rear. But then when I bought the new U-joints, there was a front and a rear, and they were a different part number. So I don't know what that means, but we're gonna wait and do that until after I've driven it without this in. This will get rid of the grinding. I've driven the car before without the front drive shaft. You can do that in one of these. If you ever fuck up your transfer case in the Liberty, you can just pull the drive shaft, and you don't have to screw with it, so long as, you know, it's not permanently engaged and making a horrid grinding noise. Because it's all self-contained. There's just a nut in there, you know, you don't have any seals or anything. It doesn't have to be connected. When you disengage a part-time transfer case like this, it literally, there's like a clutch, I believe, in here. It just disengages it. And then this always spins, the drive shaft always spins, and the front differential always spins. So all you're really doing is just engaging the clutch in there. So you can just pull drive shaft and the whole thing will run just fine. Additionally, you can actually drive the Jeep around without a rear drive shaft, because the back of the transfer case is sealed, so it's not like in a lot of cars when you pull the front drive or the rear, pull the drive shaft out, the front or the rear of the transmission, you know, pisses transmission fluid everywhere. You've got this transfer case in between, and it's sealed right back here, so you can actually run the car as a front wheel drive, just on front drive shaft. And I don't know how long you can do that, or how well it'll work, or what kind of fuel economy or handling you can get, but you can do it. I have actually driven it like that, just not very far. But yeah, I think also, well, I've already got her up. I think I'm going to drain the front differential and just swap the fluid out, because might as well. I did that, got like 90,000 miles ago, and I've already done the rear end like 3 times since then, so probably should do the front one. And additionally, if it, you know, comes out, you know, rust colored or full of chunks, then I know maybe the noise is coming from the front drive shaft. So that's another way to diagnose. But anywho, we're gonna get this on the bench and just go ahead and start working on it. Actually, I'm going to do this fluid first, then drop her, then go drive it around, then come back and work on this, because that'll give this time to cool down while I'm working on this, and also cleaning other crap out and fixing some other garbage. So we'll get to that. And doing the fluid back here's pretty easy. There is a fill plug somewhere that I need to go find, but you just take the fill plug out, make sure you can get it out, then you take the drain plug out, which is right there, I believe. And once you get the fill plug out, then you can drain it, because, you know, never take the drain plug out before the fill plug, because if your fill plug's stuck, then you're fucked. Well, you could pump fluid in there, but, you know, it's just gonna make your life harder, so just don't do that. But anyway, I'm gonna swap that out real quick, and then we'll go on to getting this guy onto the bench. All right, I got the top one out. They're both nice and loose. Show me the goop. Oh, good, that looks great. I was really worried for a second that it was totally fucked in the front end, but that looks really good. That looks better in the rear looked after I got it rebuilt, that's for fucking certain. So anyway, we're just gonna put some AW90 in there so I have the same in the front as the rear, and call that good. Easy peasy. I love when shit isn't hard. All right, front diff fluid is swapped, and looks really good for 90,000 miles. When I cleaned off the drain plug, there was just a little bit of metal in there, just like fine shavings, you know, nothing crazy for 90,000 miles on a beat-ass Jeep like this. This looks great. So front drive shaft's fine, that's for certain, and if it's not fine, it's not exploded somehow, it's fine. But anywho, I think we're gonna drop her off of the stands now and go run her up the highway and see if I still have that 66 mile an hour whine. If I do, then we know it's a rear drivetrain, or at least, you know, something other than the transfer case slash front drive shaft. And if we don't, then we know it's either transfer case or front drive shaft that's making the noise, and hopefully fixing the front drive shaft will do it, because I'm not leaving the front drive shaft out. Normally I'd just run the car around, you know, for like a week or something, but I'm really gonna need this 4-wheel drive in 2 weeks. So we're definitely going to have to put this thing in, and I don't know whether or not I'm gonna have any time next week, probably not. But anywho, here is the front drive shaft, and as you can hear from the front CV joint, fine. Rear CV joint, yeah, it's bad. Like, so I don't know what went first, this guy or this guy, but that's a no bueno. I'm assuming it was this, because this isn't punctured. The last 2 times this was punctured, and basically a stick came up and poked a hole in that, and then it filled with water and sand, and then it ate itself alive. This, it looks like this guy failed and loosened up, or I didn't get it tight enough when I put it on there. And, you know, that shouldn't do that. And I think water and shit just eventually worked its way in. So anyway, I'm gonna run around without front drive shaft to see if I still got noises. If I do, then, like I said, we know it's not the front drivetrain, or at least not most of the front drivetrain. And probably the transfer case. Well, or probably the rear end, but anyway. I'm gonna do that, shut the hell up. All right, new air filter. Let's hit the road. Sans drive shaft. And see if we still got a horrid drivetrain whine. And praying. Well, actually, I'm praying we still do, because that means that it's probably the rear drive shaft. If we don't, it means it's transfer case, which is a lot more money. Still noisy. All right, so I went out, ran errands, still making the noise. So the drivetrain issue is definitely coming from either the transfer case itself or the rear drive shaft. So we're going to attempt to pull the rear drive shaft and replace that rear U-joint today, I hope. We'll give it an attempt. It's already 5 o'clock, which is a good thing. I bought beer. But also, most importantly, I went to clearance rack at Tractor Supply, and look at this fucking shit. Fucking $2.30 was $9 for a quart of full synthetic 5W30 Castrol Edge. This shit's like $36 for 5 quarts. I mean, I literally got 5 quarts up here for the Kia. Like, hell, fucking shit, mate. That's fantastic. I just got 3 quarts of oil. I got most of the oil change for the damn truck for fucking $7. Fucking nice. Score at Pace Check Clearance Rack. Got a $50 saw yesterday, and those were not there yesterday, so that's neat. But anywho, we're going to let this son of a bitch cool for like an hour. Get to this at like 6 or 7 o'clock, so I don't burn the piss out of myself on the cats. And we're gonna crack open a beer and get started on this drive shaft. I'm now an expert at this, so it shouldn't take too much. Really what I'm gonna do is I'm going to pop this rear cap off. Just take a look in here, and I may not even do the front end because it seems to be fine. There is, you know, no play. It's a little, would like it to move a little bit more freely, but we'll see. May just need some more grease, but rear end, she knackered. So we're gonna get to that, quit wasting time. All right, so the Blue Moon's cracked. And I got the cat on cool down. Ooh, foamy. And time to quit fucking around and get to this drive shaft. Shouldn't be too much of a problem. Believe it's just banging these two, cutting this zip tie off, banging these two ends out. And I think it's just like one big E-clip, and then hammering the thing off, and that's it. And then the new ones just pop it right back on. Get brand new everything, hardware and whatnot, just fucking laying everywhere in here. And as well as this bottle of goop, which is goopy, and it gets fucking everywhere. But yeah, we'll just throw it together, and good God, fucking put shit in a damn better bag. We'll just throw this bad boy together, and I'm probably just gonna pop this cap off of here. I had to peen these over. That's a pro tip for you, is a peen this metal thing down into these lips, because otherwise sometimes this will rust and fuse to the inside of the transfer case or the differential, and then you have to fish that shit out of there, and it's really annoying, or you have to hammer the thing out to get it out. All right, there's the old one off. Drive shaft looks fine. Nothing weird going on in here. I mean, it's blind anyway, doesn't matter. But this guy is definitely really clackety. I don't really know why. The grease is still fairly greasy. Does look like it has some dirt that got in there. I think it just got water and shit in there. It doesn't actually really look rusty on the inside. It's just grease failed, the thing heated up, died, so yeah, stick a new one on. Front still feels fine. I don't think I'm even gonna mess with the front. I don't think it's worth it. I'll just put that on the shelf and save it for later. And we'll just throw the new one on. Procedure is stick the boot on first, and just kind of leave this, push it all the way up here out of the way. And then this goes on here with the flat face going in, or no. Yeah, flat face going in. And this little divot back here, you put this cardboard gasket on there, which is always bent to piss and never actually lays straight. Doesn't really fucking matter, just put it on there. I like to put a little bit of grease on it just to be safe, and then you just put this down on there. So what you do is you fill this whole thing up in here, all up with that goop right before you slide the thing on there, and then you just squirt goop into each one of these holes, slide her down in there, fill. Oh my God, is this supposed to have a hole in it? I don't think it is. I think they sent me a, what the fuck? Huh. I feel like that's not supposed to have a hole in it. Huh. Weird. I might just put that old one on there, because I don't trust that. Yeah, huh. Wonder why they did that. Anyway, that's fucking odd, and I don't like that, so I think I'm just going to reuse this old plate. I'll just clean all the dirt out of there and just reuse that gasket. And yeah, you just slap that, fill that shit up with grease, and then, well, actually put that on there first. Put your snap ring, just goes right on there. put it in there, fill it with grease, and send her home. It's pretty straightforward. All right, so I went ahead and did both ends of the drive shaft, and that sounds much less gravelly, and it's a little bit freer. This guy fought me going on for whatever reason. I had to fucking hammer the damn C-clip in, so that's exciting. But I believe I have made sure all the holes are lined up. That's the big one. You don't want to put all this shit together and then not be able to actually get the bolt through there. So she's ready to go back in the car. So hopefully the cat's cooled off now. It's been about an hour and a half with a fan on it, so should be good. Let's slap her back in there and see whether or not we're golden. All right, well, that sucker is back on there, wherever the hell it is in this frame. That is the worst part of the job, is getting the rear one back on. So I'm glad to be done with that. I'm sure I'll do it another 50,000 miles. Now we're going to take her off of jacks, put her into 4-wheel drive, and lift one rear wheel off the ground. And I guess, yeah, and then chalk the front tires, and then get her there and take that rear drive shaft off. And Lord, I hope putting that new U-joint in there doesn't fight me. I have the upside of having the big honkin' vise this go round, so I'm hoping I can squeeze them in there and won't have to beat them, but we'll see. Alrighty, rear ends on jacks. I've got 3 of the 4 bolts out, one just hanging on for a little bit. I just marked the drive shaft just to be safe, even though I've already taken this on and off about 40 times, and there's no way it's back to the factory alignment, plus the rear end was rebuilt, so it doesn't matter. But should just be able to hammer on this a little bit, get her to free up. She's rusted on there, but anywho, we'll get that off and get her over to the bench. All right, so here's the drive shaft out, and as you can see, this is very free, but this, not quite so free. It's got a fair bit of, I can't really show you, but it's got resistance. That's the thing that I think is causing issues. I mean, it's like 5-10 pounds of force, which I feel like it's probably a little too much. This one up here, very free. However, I have noticed that there is actually now like a flat spot right here. You watch that little bit of acceleration. Oh yeah, you can hear it now. This front one's actually starting to wear, which is surprising because that's fairly newer. So we're actually going to have to replace the front one too, probably in the near future. But today we're doing the rear one, and we'll see if that makes stuff stop doing things. Because what I'm thinking is it's, when there's just asymmetrical flappiness, and it's causing a little bit of a vibration. So we're going to get that replaced, and I hope I'm not going to regret starting this at 7:30 at night on a Saturday, but we'll find out. All right, call me lazy, but I beat on this thing for a little bit, and, I just moved the 2 side to side, and as soon as I did that, like, it freed up instantly, like, as soon as I beat on it enough to get those lock rings out. So I'm actually going to put those back in and see whether or not it just stays that way, because if it does, then we'll just leave it, because if that guy's fucked, I'd rather actually save the U-joint in case that goes, now that I know that there's not really a forwards and backwards on this. So yeah, like, it just freed up as soon as I beat on it a little bit. So yeah, I'm just gonna put those back, see if it stays that way. If it does, pump some grease in it and just throw it back in the car. All right, so drive shaft's back in with the old U-joint. I forgot to re-grease everything because it's fucking late and I'm tired and I got other shit to do before I gotta go to bed and then I gotta get up in the morning. So anyway, she's back in there. All that weirdness that I was feeling back here, the one that was loose, the one that was tight, it was all just about the position of these guys. For whatever reason, like, just like, it was like 10 thou of clearance. Like, literally on the side that was tight, I just ran everything back in and then just kind of pushed them back out and slowly crept in. And I just basically cleaned everything and put it back in, and it was fine. And then this one, I had to do it like 6 times to finally get it just right, where I had to like just bang these clips in. Like they're just barely in there because for whatever reason, it's like you go in like 10 thou extra, and the whole thing is like locked up. And you back it out 10 thou, and it's flopping all over the place. I don't get it. I know the tolerance isn't that tight. So it could be the wrong U-joint. I don't know. But I'm not replacing it because it's effort, and if it keeps doing this, then we'll see. We'll see if the noise goes away. If the noise goes away, then we know it's something to do with this U-joint, and then we know what to do, and we'll just get both of these done. And I'll go buy a fucking hydraulic press rather than do this with a damn hammer. And if not, then I'm just going to throw it up to the true track I threw in there, and it just makes noise, and we'll just go with that, because at this point, I'm pretty confident that's what it is. Look at all them blinky boys. Oh, there he went. Gotta love fireflies. Look at that fucking bull. What are you doing in the damn road? Buddy, yes, come on. I'm going around you. Don't run into me, please. I don't need any more dents. Good Lord. It was not in the road 5 minutes ago. And another cow. God damn. These cows need to wear some white clothing or something. Jeez, can't see you. Anyway, rear end still whines. So it's not drive shaft because it's exactly the same as it was before. So I'm just going to chalk it up to the true track, and that it must just fucking whine with all them helical gears in it. And I'm going to stop worrying about it now. All right, it's been a couple weeks. Got another U-joint, and we're going to take another crack at doing the rear U-joints. Since I have 2 now, I can fuck up and not be worried. So anyway, we're going to get to that because I just want to get something done. Man, look at all them tree bees. I'm going to be rich. By the way, the best part about doing the front drive shaft is that it just fucking slings grease everywhere. And you can't make it not do that without under-greasing it. So just, yeah. You're never going to be able to, and by the way, that blue shit, it does not come out of clothes. So just never wear anything you ever want to wear in public again after you do this and have to work anywhere in this area. At least, you know, the top of the trans cross member won't rust probably. All right, drive shaft's back out. So all this time, I thought I might have had the wrong U-joint somewhere, which seems silly, because how can you have the wrong U-joint somewhere for 90,000 miles? And that's because it is. So they are indeed actually identical. The only reason that I was led astray and just decided, fuck it, we'll get the other U-joint try, I did. It was a 1/2 inch too wide. The difference is that if you have a 4-wheel drive with a manual, you have a different front U-joint. I have 4-wheel drive with an automatic, so the U-joints are the same. I don't know why there needs to be a difference, but apparently there is. So on the manual with the 4-wheel drive, the front U-joint is like a 1/2 inch wider. It's just a bigger yoke for some odd reason, balancing or something. So yeah, they're just the same. But anyway, I need to do it anyway because I noticed it's been 90,000 miles. You might as well do it. They're U-joints. So we're going to do that. So there they are. And we're just going to do the same thing we did before. Just grease them up, give them a tap, pull the clips out, beat piss out of them. And then this time we're going to mangle them out with those things. Because I have 2 U-joints, so I have 2 chances to fuck up. All right, we got the first side of one side out, and got some quick tips for you. First things first, pull out your Zerk fitting. I didn't do that, and then I realized I should have, but it was already too late, and I managed to work around it. But, you know, pull your Zerk fitting out, because it's just going to get in your way. And then what you do is you take I am using a 3/4 inch socket. You just find your cheapest one that you've got lying around that you don't care about. Just set it up there on top of the clip. Give it one tap. Grab needle nose pliers. Pull the clip out. If your needle nose pliers don't want to grab like mine do, you can take them to the belt. Go buy a cheap pair, and then just take them to the belt sander and then grind the very, very, very tip off until they're very flat. You can kind of work on those and get them, a little bit, put a little bit of a bevel in there, make them a little bit grippier if you really need to, or you can just fiddle around with it and lose the clip somewhere. Then after you do that, turn it over, do the same thing, pull the other clip out, and then drive one side down as far as it'll go. And then turn it over, and what you can do is I have here what size is this? 27 millimeter, something similar. I don't know, this is just the quickest thing I could grab out of there. I think it's something for the Mercedes, but anyway. And you can just set it over the top of the actual cap when it's in there, and then you drive the other side down, or drive it down all the way, and then that'll give you that last little bit of oomph that you can't do from beating on the other side. To get it up just like another 1/4 of an inch, you can grab on it with a big honking set of pliers and just pull the cap out, turn around, put that guy on it, beat it down again, and there you go. Bob's your uncle. So I have this guy off now, and we can get that cleaned up, and then work on that side, and then work on that side, and then hopefully this shouldn't be a massive fight. All right, both of you joints are out. That was easier than I anticipated, but harder than I'd hoped for. By the way, make sure to label front and rear of the drive shaft if you're doing both U-joints at the same time, because you don't want to mix that up. Anywho, I'm going to clean up each of these ends because they got mangled a little bit. Managed to blow the chrome off of both of these sockets. So yeah, just know that you are going to do that. So make sure you're using the garbage sockets when you do it, and wear eye protection because you don't want, chrome flecks in your eyeballs. So anywho, I'm just gonna get at this with a little bit of a 600 grit sandpaper, just to clean up the front and rear and the inner edge. You don't want to go after the inside of this race, but like in here, I'm feeling a lip down in there. So I'm gonna go through and clean I'm going to wire wheel the ends of both of these just to get all the crud off them. Then, just hit them with a little bit of carb cleaner, just to clean them up. And then we're going to go, after those races, I don't have a hone, but I am going to go after them with the jeweler's file and just just clean up these lips in here, just the outer, like 1/16 of an inch, just bevel that a little bit better, just to allow them to go in a little bit smoother, because if you've mangled them over, driving them out, you're going to have a hard time putting them back in. I'm going to attempt to put them back in the vise because that's the smart thing to do. So we'll put the U-joint in, I'm assuming this side first, and then flip it over and then do the other side, because that should be the easiest. I'm going to try and use the small vise because it's got smooth jaws and this has serrate ones. So if not, we'll move over to the big vise and I'll just suck it up and allow the thing to, chew them up a little bit. And you're just going to drive them in as far as they'll go, and then you'll run them in the rest of the way with a hammer with the 3/4 inch socket like you did before. So I'm going to get to cleaning these up, and then we'll hopefully very gently and precisely put these new U-joints in, because you do not want to hammer those new ones in when you're putting them on until they are seated on either end. No hammering until till both caps are on here. Otherwise, those needle bearings are just going to go everywhere, and you have a bad time. So don't do that. Ask me how I know. All right, it's out. Did some filing. Rather than go find a wire brush that I could just jam in there and just kind of hone it with, I got a brand new roll of 600 grit sandpaper, and you just loosely roll it up, stick it in there, and then turn it against the grain until it pops out, and then just kind of jimmy it until it's about that, and then you just kind of just grab it and just go like that, and cleans the pores up nice without taking any material off of it. And I think I'm just gonna hit it with PB Blaster and then just wipe it out. I don't really want to spray brake cleaner on there, because this has a rubber dampener in it, and that's rubber, and whoo, thunder. So hurry up. But that's hopefully, biggest thing I'm worried about is trying to get one of those in there and accidentally cranking on it weird and having one of the needle bearings go boop and then crushing it and then being shit out of luck. Well, that was just as annoying as I remember it. But she's back together and she's free in all directions. This one that direction is a little iffy, but we're just gonna ignore it. I had to file on that thing, or the clip, just put it on the sandpaper and take a thou off of it just to get it close enough. But this end's all nice and free, so that was the trouble end before. So yeah, we're just gonna hug her back in the car. I made sure to keep all the marks lined up at least, and I lined up the fucking grease fittings, which I did not do last time, and I couldn't grease the thing when it was in the car, so that was really annoying. But anyway, we're gonna throw some grease in it, then we're gonna throw it in the car, and we're gonna hope that the vibration goes away. I am confident it won't, but it'll make me feel better. We're gonna rotate tires too, and yeah. You know what? I've said it before, and I ain't afraid to say it again. I hate grease guns. They're cringe. They're a conspiracy by Big Grease to get me to waste half the grease in my damn tube, greasing 2 fucking U-joints. Good God. Anyway, but I am all sorts of slathered up, and this is all greased up and clean, and we're gonna pick her up and huck her in the Jeep. Ignore the shotgun. All right, new U-jointed drive shaft is back in. Just rotate tires real quick and take her out on the highway and see whether or not it still whines. I'm sure it still does, but you know, man can dream, man can dream. One upside about having to do these CV joints is you get these guys out of the end of it, and you get yourself a dowel and you stick that on there. You've got a pretty effective skull cracker for the zombie apocalypse, or Portland. Alrighty, tires are just about cross-rotated, so last step. Well, make sure you're still every bit as loud. Let me get up to speed. Yeah, that did jack shit for that noise, so I'm just gonna chalk that up to something in the rear differential, assumedly the True Track, although I can't find any reports of the True Track, you know, making that noise. Car's definitely a little bit more responsive. There was some play in those U-joints that has been taken out, so that's at least nice. But it's not making it not howl anymore, so that's disappointing. I don't know what that buzzing noise is. Fucking loose washer or something somewhere. God. Well, I guess fixing all the drive shafts has done nothing other than make the car a little bit less sloppy. There used to be just a little bit of like just a little bit of play there in between between hammering on the accelerator and the rear end moving, but not anymore, because I can just kind of, if I tap the throttle, I feel it immediately in my seat. So I did take some slack out, but the noise I've been chasing is not the drive shaft. So that's what we like to call fucking horse shit. God damn it. How about some skirt? Hey, we can skirt though. We can skirt. But there seems to be a little bit less slack in the drivetrain, so it's progress. All right, so I realized it's been like 3 months and I never actually filmed an outro to the drive shaft video, so I'm doing that now. So no appreciable change in fuel economy or noise or anything. I've done a couple other things since then. I haven't actually driven the Jeep too much in the last month and a half on account of finally realized how bad one of my ball joints was, so I just kind of parked her in the yard until I could get around to doing it. It took me a month and a half to do a damn ball joint. That's how the to-do list is looking right now, hence why no videos. But anyway, so yeah, no appreciable change, so I'm just gonna live with the noise now at this point until I, you know, finally lose all of my sanity and just get a new transfer case, which still probably won't do anything because I'm confident it's the True Track. But anyway, I digress. If you like what I'm doing here, consider giving the video a like, comment, tell me what fucking obvious thing it is that I'm clearly ignoring, because Lord, I'm desperate at this point. And if you want to see more of this hot garbage, then you gotta subscribe, so smash the big gray button over there, and until next time, I'm out.